What's up, internet? My name's Ori. It is Saturday, September 20th, day number 75 inside the Big Brother house. It was an action-packed day with nominations, a veto competition. The game is being taken over. Plus, what is option one? Let's talk about that, plus all the intel, drama, and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video, you'll never miss a stream. Speaking of, we were live yesterday for our Friday morning live streams. They're probably my most favorite, most fun times during the season is during those Friday morning live streams with you guys. Always a lot of fun. Thank you guys for coming on and hanging out with me each and every Friday morning. We have pretty much one more week here of Big Brother with these Friday mornings. But we might have more streams as this week continues. We'll talk about that more at the end of the video, but a little bit of a recap for you. You guys haven't been keeping up with everything going on. In the double eviction, Kelly left first after Lauren won the blockbuster competition, only for Morgan to go on to win the HOH to nominate Lauren once again next to Keanu. Keanu went on to win the power of veto. Ava was put up as the replacement nominee, with Lauren leaving as the second evictee of the night. After that, we went on to a live endurance HOH competition on the feeds, which was won by Vince. And despite some thoughts of turning on Morgan, seemed to make it clear that his target would be Keanu. Now, one of the first things we need to talk about with yesterday was early in the morning, late into the evening. You know how Morgan and Vince do. They had a little bit of a conversation that a lot of people are starting to wonder what it really means. Talked about option one, and Vince said, option one, I think, is the way it really should go, he says to Morgan. And now you might be asking me, Ori, come on, what does option one mean? We don't 100% know. It could have been option one as far as nominations. It could have been option one as far as what they want to have for dinner that night. It could have been option one as far as hug formations they want to do, whether it's vertical, horizontal. Who knows what option one is? But it seems like option one is more likely code for after the game relationships. At least that's what it seems like is going on. It's just the context clues we're able to use, especially now that after the nominations were done. It seems like, well, it can't be nominations because they're still talking about this option one. It couldn't have been veto because they're still talking about this option one. Potentially option one just means like final two, but also, again, with everything that's been going on with these two, it seems like it might be a little bit more. But I also have some other theories on what option one actually means, and we'll get to that a little bit later here in the video. We did end up getting Vince tell Ava that she was going on the block, which she pretty much expected. Ava said, I was just seeing that, seeing what you were thinking, Vince. Like, what are you planning? And he's like, listen, I think I'm going straight up with Keanu and you up on the block next to him. And Ava said, like, honestly, I if I say I'm shocked, I'd be lying. Vince ended up telling Ashley and Morgan all about the conversation he had with Keanu, where Keanu was basically saying that Morgan's running his game if he doesn't put her up on the block, and how she needs to go, and just everything that Keanu has been saying. And then we also ended up getting Keanu having a conversation with Ashley, where they talk about, Vince and how they hope that he makes the move against Morgan. And Ashley just kind of being honest, where she's like, listen, I don't think he's actually going to make this move and put Morgan up on the block. I just don't think it's going to happen. They also kind of question the whole relationship with Vince and Morgan and what's really going on there. Ashley said, if I was Vince's girlfriend, I'd slap him. Keanu said to Ashley that the best move would be to keep him in the game, because if not, Morgan and Vince, they are going to the final three. They are going to win everything. There's no way that they're going to be able to break them up without Keanu here to play in the veto and be able to send one of them home. Keanu says if Vince ends up choosing not to put Morgan up on the block, he hopes for Ashley's sake that she's not sitting next to him. And Ashley's like, I'm pretty sure you'd be going home if you're sitting next to me, bud. And Keanu's like, maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. And Ashley's like, come on, bro. It would be Ava and Morgan voting at that point. Like, you'd be going home. Keanu says Morgan is going to win and Vince needs to send her out. He doesn't understand it, right? Like Vince is signing a check for second place, and the perception will be that Morgan was running Vince's game, and they need to figure out like how they can get Vince to do this, and they need to figure out how they can get Morgan out of the game this week. They had a conversation where Ava was kind of brought into it as well. She joined them, and they were just talking about, potentially having whoever was off the block using the veto to save whoever was on the block, and then that way Morgan was forced into being put up as the replacement nominee. These chats, honestly, I'll tell you, they got a little tense. I don't want to say exactly heated, but there was contention between Keanu and the others. It was just a very frank conversation where they all are just at this point where they realize that they just need to win the competitions. If they want to be able to stay in this game, they need to win the competitions. Ashley ends up saying after Keanu leaves to Ava that the only way that she could use the veto like on Ava is if she got Vince to tell her to use the veto, because otherwise she needs to be able to blame Vince to Morgan, because Morgan basically told her she won't vote for her at the end if she were to use the veto like that. And they actually end up questioning and Morgan has even questioned Ashley if Ava you asked her to use the veto on her. So Ashley's just like, there's no way I could do that. Morgan would be furious at me. I would lose the game 100%. Ashley ended up later also having a little conversation to us on the camera about having to deal with Keanu, going on a little bit of a rant, saying like the fact that I had to listen to a 30-minute rant and smile the whole time. Oh my gosh, like somebody give me the Oscar because I'm having a stroke. I'm having to stroke Keanu's ego, and it almost killed me. It almost took me out. We also ended up getting Keanu going and having a conversation with Vince, trying to get him to go after Morgan, saying, you're going to take her out, right? If you win the veto. And Vince is like, maybe. And Keanu's like, what's the difference in putting her straight up right now? Right? Like, just put her straight up right now. What's the difference? And Vince is like, well, probably like one extra day of rage and anger that I would have to deal with. And Keanu's like, just be a man. Just be a man and draw a line, set up some boundaries, say, get out of my HOH room. This is my room. It's like, Keanu, I don't think, listen, have you seen the way they look at each other? Have you seen the way they hold each other, Keanu? This isn't going to happen. And Vince is like, I don't know. And Keanu says, like, you're going to force me to have to win out, aren't you? I'm going to have to effing win it to the end. And you know what? I'm gonna end up taking you anyway. I'm gonna take you anyway because I'm a man of my effing word. And the whole time you didn't even effing deserve it. You didn't deserve it. But you know what? You want to talk about loyalty? That's loyalty. Basically Keanu's like, I'm gonna drag you there. You're gonna get rid of me. Guess what, bud? I'm dragging you to the end. Keanu says, if you're going to put me up, at least put me up next to Ashley. And Vince is like, why Ashley? And Keanu's like, because at least if Ava wins and takes me down, you're ended up forced to put up Morgan. So he's really trying here. He's trying everything. But he kind of can tell it's a lost cause. He basically just needs to win this competition. And Keanu says that, it's just really upsetting, man. Like every single turn in this game, I can't even catch an effing break. Like, bro, like this just stinks. And Vince says, like, I don't know, how I found myself in this position so many times, having to make these tough calls this season. And Keanu's like, I told you just to throw it to me. He said, you didn't want to get blood on your hands. The argument was like, don't I need to get blood on my hands? And now you're not even doing it. You're not even following through with the move. And Keanu says, I knew I was going up there. The moment I dropped out of the competition, I knew that I was going up the block. And Vince is like, you didn't even think I'd at least consider weighing out other options? And Vince is like, no, I didn't think for a moment you wouldn't put me up on the block. And Vince was basically at this point saying, you know what, like it's fine, right? Like if I end up losing the game to Morgan, it is what it is. And Vince is like, are you kidding me? You're fine losing to Morgan. You're fine coming in second place. That's a $700,000 difference. We ended up getting the feeds went down for the nomination ceremony. And when they came back, it was Keanu and Ava who were put on the block by Vince. There were some little talks here and there, some whisperings about, what was going on. But at the end of the day, everybody knew it came down to the veto competition whenever that was going to take place. And guess what? It didn't take long because the feeds went down again and we had the veto competition take place. I believe it was even in the sanctum, the mastermind's lair, or whatever that was, wherever they had the HOH competition, which I believe was in the have not room, just kind of all redesigned. And I believe that's actually where the veto competition took place. Afterwards, they had the backyard. It's possible it also could have taken place in the competition area, like kind of off-site. But I have a feeling that's being set up for some of the other competitions that are going to be coming up this week as well. And it was the tiny veto competition, the stacking competition. And when it came back, not only did they have the large veto, not only did they have the tiny veto, it was Morgan once again coming up with another veto competition win. Vince and Morgan, you know what? Option one is Takeover. They are taking over the game, winning all the competitions. They might at this point win out, go all the way to the final two, Morgan and Vince sitting next to each other. And I'll tell you, it's not a smart move for Vince. We ended up getting Keanu talking outside. He says he knows he's going to be going home, and he hopes that he gets to come back for another season. It was kind of sad seeing him just kind of come to the realization that his game now is officially over. We also ended up getting some confirmation from Morgan's to saying to Ava that she's not going to be using the veto on Keanu, and that they have all made the final four. We ended up getting Vince telling Ashley about Keanu going out next, and then they only have one more job to do. Get out Ava, and the judges are in the final three. We ended up getting Keanu talking to Vince, and he was basically telling him, it's all good, bro. He says actually his only regret is the game, is that he tried to get Vince to backdoor Rachel, and she was the only person who ever truly had his back. He said everyone he tried to have their back, they ended up stabbing him in his. Keanu says, no bullshit. I fully intended on taking you to the final two, man. I thought you believed me. And Vince said, you know what? You played a hell of a game. You had the most comp wins out of everyone. You're going to have a lot of success out of here, Keanu. Like I really think you did well. And Vince is like, I appreciated playing the game with you though, right? And I hope we're good after this. And Keanu says, we didn't even play the game together though. And Vince is like, well, we lived together for 75 days. We played together for a good portion here and there. And then this is really where Vince was just kind of doing some jury management now at this point, where he's like, listen, I never took advantage of you. I tried to my best to make the best path forward for myself. And it's nothing personal. I was just trying to make moves. And I definitely played more selfish than I really ended up planning to this season. But Keanu's just like, yeah, man, whatever. It's good. Like, don't worry. Ashley ended up telling Keanu that she'll end up having to vote him out over Ava. as it just makes the most sense for her game at this point, which he understands, he accepted. And he mentioned that, he actually had a final two with Rachel, and and Ashley's like, yeah, I knew, and he's like, you knew about that? And Ashley's like, listen, Keanu, like you're gonna find out some things over the next few days, right? Like you'll see in your goodbye messages, that'll explain a lot. But yeah, like don't worry, buddy. He told her though that he'll end up voting for her or Ava at the end as long as Morgan isn't there. But he will not vote for Vince, and he said he just can't justify it. But he does say, Ashley, if Ashley says if I win that final veto, I'll take out Morgan. And Keanu says, as long as Morgan's not there in the end, like I'm voting for you and Ava. I can't justify going for Vince because of how many times he lied to me, how truthful and forgiving I was to him, and I hope that you guys end up making it there over them. And Ashley, again, she says, if I win that veto, I'm evicting Morgan. And Keanu says, you have to. We did end up getting Vince and Morgan. Vince does start to worry that if they don't win this next veto, that he does end up going. As many of you guys know, Final Four, power of veto is where all of the power is in the Final Four. We'll go over more of this in a bit for any of the newbies too as well, kind of explaining some of how this works. But Vince saying he does worry that if they don't win this veto, he's going to go. And Vince wonders if Ashley will stick to their alliance. And Morgan says she thinks so because Keanu was trying to convince Ashley to use the veto to get Morgan up this week. And Ashley told him that she wouldn't do it. But again, that was this week. He just told Keanu, doesn't mean I'm not going to do it for this next veto. Morgan and Vince, they continue to kind of have their chat, and they wonder what this last veto will actually even be. And they start to kind of study to make sure they're prepared for it. And they talk about, how the jury's going to react to Keanu going. And Vince saying that, he'll have to explain the judges in his goodbye messages as well. Vince says that, Morgan is just so great at this game. And she tells him the same. She said, you're great at this game too. But Vince says his game's more about damage control than anything else. We did end up getting a little bit of an interesting conversation with Vince and Ava. Because Vince says, to Ava, like, if she won the veto next week, what'd she do if Morgan was the HOH? Who would she choose? Would she choose Vince or would she choose Ashley? And Vince is saying, I think that, at the end, we have the best chance against each other. Ava, I think that you should really choose me. And Ava basically told Vince, like, listen, bud, like, it doesn't even matter because at the end, if you're against Morgan, like, we're both losing, right? Like, now that she won another veto, like, bro, like, you've got no shot. And Ava tells him that like there's a possibility of her giving her vote to him over Ashley. So maybe they can actually work together. Maybe they can go to the end. And then they wonder how the rest of the week will play out because Ava says, to Vince, ideally, the final three, it should be us because with Ashley, they don't know if they can win against Ashley because there's still some odds that she could beat them in the end. And Vince even says his ideal final three. He says maybe it is Ashley and Ava because he would have the best odds of getting to the end with them as well. And he does love Morgan, and on paper, it'd be great to be there with her, but she's the favorite to win that HOH. And then Ava is talking about Ashley's game as well and talking about how smart she is so that, what, really, Vince, again, maybe it should be me and you in the final two. And Vince says, he doesn't want to sit next to Ashley either. And Ava says, Ashley, will come to Vince in the next few days trying to make sure that he keeps her over Ava. So just be aware of that, Vince. And Ashley says, the crazy truth is that, what? Her best shot is with Vince in the final two as well. So the only way that either of them win this game, they feel like, is sitting next to each other. And Ava thinks that Ashley feels like she's making the top three, and Vince thinks actually assumes she's making the top three. Now, we then ended up getting Ashley and Ava having a conversation where Ashley was telling Ava about how Keanu was trying to get her to vote to evict Ava and make it a tie, and that for some reason Keanu thinks that Vince would actually break the tie in his favor. And then they also mentioned how Ava and Vince, they have to get rid of Morgan, and excuse me, they mentioned that Ava and Vince had a final two, and that they were trying to talk about getting rid of Morgan, and that Morgan doesn't know this. So that's kind of the big thing here, right? Because again, we were just having Ava and Vince have these conversations just moments ago. They've had these conversations before where they've talked about this. Even just this past HOH run, there was the conversations where potentially Morgan could end up going on the block. Were these ever really real for Vince? Probably not. But they talk about how, there is this information they could maybe use to get Morgan to try and turn on Vince and make sure she doesn't take him to the final two over them in the final three. We also ended up having Ava say that, you know what? Actually, maybe you should go talk to Vince and see about what he's up to. See if you can get him to make any plans. Remember, Ava had told Vince that Ashley was going to come talk to him, pitching herself over Ava, and now Ava just told Ashley she should go talk to Vince. So Ava trying to set some things up here. Ava trying to play a little bit of chess. Will it work out? Probably not, but she's trying, and I appreciate it. We had the conversation kind of continue, though, saying that if Morgan wins HOH, me and you go up on the block, and it doesn't matter, that we're on the block. It's all about the veto. If one of us wins the veto, we're good. We're guaranteed to both stay because we'll vote out the other one. But we got to either win HOH for one of us to stay, and then we have to win veto, or else we ain't winning the game next to her, right? Because if she wins HOH, we're really screwed. And if she wins HOH, we're looking at second and third, maybe fourth. Will's daughters, look at us. We did end up getting Vince, though, having a little bit of a conversation, because potentially some of this stuff is starting to actually get to them. Vince says to himself, he has 4 vetoes and an HOH. I have 4 HOHs. I need a veto. Like, I need this next one. I do have a blockbuster win, right? So maybe that can give me the edge. Like, he's trying to count like all the different ways that he could potentially still beat Morgan and justify the ways that he can take her to the end and still win. But it won't matter. There could be 500 more vetoes in this season. Vince could win them all. He would still lose to Morgan sitting in the end next to her. And he says, if I win the next one, it's the most important one anyway. And maybe I can actually do this thing. And even potentially, right? Like there was a little bit of the idea that, hey, maybe he's talking about, you know what? Maybe I take her out, right? Because the idea here is like he's trying to count it up, and maybe you would think, hey, I have to take her out now. Like, she has too many stuff here. But no, he's up in the HOH room talking to Morgan, and he says, you know what, Morgan, I gotta tell you, you winning another comp today, us going on this run, option 1 has been elevated. And Morgan actually laughs, and she says, you know what, you're funny. And Morgan then asks, in a very, very sensual way here, she says, I should say, does what does that what does that do for you? And he says, stresses me out, but also motivates me to win the next one. I'm telling you guys, I think option one is like serious. I think option 1 is the real deal. We also had some other things here that I want to go over, because there was a couple other really interesting, just a little back and forth, right? Like Morgan saying, I'm the only person in the house that you haven't nominated. And Vince is like, because I have Morgan goggles, apparently. And Morgan says, no, you had Lauren goggles. And Vince said, why? Because we're friends? And Morgan says, no, it was so much deeper than friends. It's like you can't write this stuff. You literally can't write it. We also had another like kind of fun little conversation where Morgan was like, "You little liar," and he's like, "I lied so much in this game," and Morgan's like, he's like, "Morgan, I lied a lot. I lied my ass off the first month of this game." And then there was this other little thing where Vince has got his HOH music. And what is the name of the band? I don't even know what the name of the band is, but the song name is Lavender Girl. And he said, Morgan, I re- I really want you to listen to this song. I really want you to listen to this song. Morgan goes and she listens to the song and she's laying on the bed and I'm telling you, she had the biggest smile, the little smirk on her face. I just want to read you some of the lyrics of this song that Vince really wanted Morgan to listen to, and that Morgan seemed to really enjoy listening to. Let me just read some of these lyrics here for you. I'd never dance till I danced with you, my love. Couldn't hear the music, but I'm sure it was good stuff. I never sang with a tear falling from my eye. And every time I lose it, oh, I'm not afraid to cry. I never spoke to the one like you before, told you all my secrets, and you wanted more. I never looked into eyes as clear as yours. And every time I lose it, nothing matters more. Oh, don't look now. If the superstitions got you down, there's no right way to get back to a heart. Oh, Lord, don't you worry about how, but I got you all figured out. They can't take my name and take my fame. Lavender Girl, take me back to the start. So, listen, I'm just saying, this doesn't seem like a song you recommend to friends in a very friendly way, right? Like this feels like the kind of song that you say somebody else should listen to, right? This feels like the kind of song you say that someone special that they should listen to. So yeah, it's obviously a very interesting conversation with everything going on with Morgan and Vince. But what do you guys think? Let me know in those comments down below. They are still up as I'm recording this. This video is probably even going to be a little bit late here on this Saturday. But before we wrap up, there are a few more things we should go over. We can check out our allegiance chart here. As far as, the allegiances here, right? You guys kind of know what the deal is. This is actually even now more of kind of a ranking of like who I think can end up winning this game. I actually think Vince, if he did get to the end and Morgan wasn't there, if he took Morgan out, I think Vince would have a shot to win this game. I think he could beat Ashley. I think he could beat Ava. I think he could even beat Keanu. But with the fact that he's keeping Morgan in this game, she will beat him every single time. It's not even a question. After that, I think Ashley would have a little bit of a better shot over Ava, seeing as more of the judges would probably be in there, and it would give Ashley a little bit of that edge. But again, if it's against Morgan, no shot. If it's against Vince, little bit of a shot. Little bit of a shot. Same thing with Ava and Keanu. Both of them would have shots to get there, but poor Keanu right now, he's pretty much a dead man walking, just kind of waiting for the vote to take place here. And this is where I kind of want to have a little bit of a conversation because listen, this might be a little bit of a take that you guys might be surprised that I have as somebody who has been so against the blockbuster competition and the AI arena and how it affects the game. I feel like it does have some pros. One of the big pros that I feel like the competition brings is it breaks up the large alliances in the first half of the game, it's very hard to have a 6-person alliance when potentially you have to put up 4 or 5 people in week 5, and there's only so many people in the house, and you're going to be looking at some of your alliance members as potential options for the nomination block. And it causes cracks to form in those large alliances, which, if we're honest, for a very long time became the meta in Big Brother. Get a large alliance, about 4 to 6 people. You can run the entire game, and that is it. And we've seen since the AI Arena and the Blockbuster competition, way less importance on these large alliances, and they're more voting blocks that end up taking place. And it's a much more fluid house, and it is more interesting, and I do like that. Couple of the cons, though, is it is all about the competitions now. It pushes these bad social players farther in the game than they really deserve to go. And then you end up in a position where you end up with a lot of competition beasts that end up winning the competitions at the right moments, taking out some of the other competition beasts to the point where they're ended up with people that they can beat in the end and have an easy run to the end. It's very similar to how we'll see things play out with BB25, how Jag and Matt were able to set it up where they were able to run the end of the game, run the table, win all the competitions, and completely control the game. It's going to be a very similar thing here with Morgan and Vince, where they're able to kind of just run the table here and be able to get all the way to the end, winning the rest of the competitions this season. So one of my big things here right now is, why end the blockbuster right now? Why, when it's legit the last time that you could technically do the blockbuster? As if blockbuster was still in play during the double eviction, and don't tell me that there wasn't a way to do it during the double eviction because of time. There were 40 minutes of that episode. It was a 2-hour episode. 40 minutes of it could have been cut because it was all just filler. And if the blockbuster was in play during that double eviction, maybe Lauren is still here, as she had won the first blockbuster that night. Maybe she wins too, and Lauren is still in the house. And maybe it ended up being Ava who leaves during the double eviction, or maybe it ends up being Ashley who leaves during the double eviction. If the blockbuster was still in play this week, maybe Keanu would end up winning this blockbuster, because I think he would have a really good shot of winning it against Ashley or Ava. Maybe Lauren would still be in the game, but if Lauren's still in the game, there also gives an edge for potentially Keanu staying in the game, because wouldn't it be more interesting of Final Four of Keanu and Lauren versus Morgan and Vince, with how heavy competitions have been this season? Wouldn't that be the more interesting way things could play out right now? Because in the way it stands right now, unless Ashley and Ava come up with a miracle win, Morgan and Vince are going to win out, and they're going to run and control this entire game, because option one is takeover. Option one is full domination. Option one is a steamroll. So it's kind of interesting what we got here. Why end the blockbuster now? You could have had, like, if we're going to do blockbuster the whole season, let's stand on business. Let's have it go the whole season. Don't end it now when it literally is the last possible week you could do it, because you can't do it in Final Four. There's no way to do it in Final Four. By the way, I talked about earlier with Final Four. If you're new to Big Brother, because I know every season there are people who aren't sure how it all works. I talked about, and the house guests are talking about the Final Four veto being the most important one and being all that matters next week. So in the Final Four, once we get there, someone will win HOH. That HOH will nominate 2 people to go on the block. But since there's only 4 people and the HOH cannot be nominated, once those 2 people go up on the block, if one of the nominees wins the power of veto, there's no real point in doing anything, because they will come off the block and the person who wasn't on the block goes up. And then because there's 2 nominees and the HOH doesn't vote, that veto holder is the sole vote that week. So theoretically, HOH is just a safety competition. HOH has no power in the Final Four. The veto holder is who holds all the power. They're the ones who chooses who the final two people are sitting in those seats, and they're the ones who choose who has the sole vote, who's the only one who will say who stays and who goes to the final three. So the final four veto is huge. It's so important. And it's also why we can't have a blockbuster, because there's only so many options to go on the block. You can't have three people up there a veto and then they win veto and they're off and there's two people, and you can't have a blockbuster with two people, right? So you just, there's no way to do a blockbuster in Final Four. We can theoretically do it in Final Five. We could have done it during the double eviction. It would have made things even more exciting to have another additional competition during the blockbuster. Because isn't that what the blockbuster is supposed to be for? To make the eviction nights more exciting, and it wouldn't just an extra comp where somebody could have saved themselves. Wouldn't that just have been more exciting? I don't know. Maybe that's again a take that not many people agree with, but it's more of the idea of, hey, listen, if we're gonna do this, let's do this, right? Don't don't do it halfway. There's no half measures. Go all the way with it. Really, really, stick to it if we're gonna be doing this blockbuster. Couple of other things that we could talk over here. It seems that we will have Keanu leaving. It's just kind of a sad fact at this point, unless there's some kind of miracle twist here to take place with how this eviction is going to be taking place, which there will be a twist, right? This eviction should be taking place here at some point. It seems today, but how it's going to affect the feeds, we don't know. But it does seem Keanu is the next person to be leaving this game. We will have Sunday's episode, which is going to have the HOH competition, the nominations. But then Wednesday's episode is when we're going to see the veto competition and the eviction. It'll be a special eviction episode on Wednesday. So if the eviction's happening tomorrow and then the episode's not happening all the way until Wednesday, will we have feeds between now and then? I'm not sure. As of right now, we have feeds. Once the eviction actually takes place, what's going to happen with the feeds, I don't know. We'll see. I will always have something for you. If there's even nothing, we'll definitely even just go live to kind of chat about things that are going on, things that are happening, and how we see the finale playing out, jury vote scenarios. We'll have some fun with it on any of those days where we don't have anything. Because the thing is, after Wednesday's episode, there will be Thursday's episode, which will have an HOH. It will have a veto competition. It will have an eviction as well. So here's one of the big issues on why I'm a little worried about the feeds. If they're doing this special eviction, if it takes place today, let's say, then you have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday all to get ready for Thursday's episode, pretty much almost just like a regular week minus like 2 days. So they're not going to just let them sit around doing nothing, right? With no HOH, no nominations, no veto. The game's going to continue after Keanu is evicted. And it's a little bit different than the Rachel one, because the Rachel one, we were getting an episode fairly quickly. And yeah, there was an HOH, and yeah, there was nominations, but I'm pretty sure veto wasn't played. It might have been played by the time we saw Rachel's actual eviction. I forget now at this point. But they did show us the feeds when Rachel was gone, and there was a new HOH, and the game continued. Will they keep with that precedent that they had earlier in the season, or will they cut feeds off going into this week? We'll see. I'm hoping not, because it would be a little bit boring not having any of the feeds and not having any information about what's going on. And then after Thursday's eviction, we will be down to our final three as we head towards finale on next Sunday, where we will find out the winner of BB27. What do you guys think of everything going on? What do you think of Vince and his nominations? What do you think of Morgan winning another veto competition? Vince and Morgan completely taking over the game. What do you think of Keanu seemingly now just a dead man walking in this competition, as he's more than likely going to be the fifth person to head to the jury house? And what do you think of our prospects of who could end up winning this game of Big Brother? Let me know in those comments down below. Thank you guys all again for all the love, support you guys show me here on this channel. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button. Hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. I know I say it a lot, but you guys are so amazing for all the love, all the support. I cannot thank you enough. I don't want it to ever get you know, outdone or oversaid or overstated, but it can't be overstated. You guys have made covering this show just so amazing, season after season. We have an amazing community here on the channel. We've got an amazing Discord that you should go check out as well. Check us out on Twitter. There's links to our socials, pinned comment, description down below. You can also check out things like the Ori Fund, never required, always appreciated. But we are here now in the end game. It is the final stretch of the season. And I'm really excited to see how this all plays out. Thank you guys all again for watching, and I will see you next time.
The fact I just had to listen to a 30-minute rant, and I smiled the whole time. Oh my God. Somebody give me the Oscar of the year, because having to stroke Keanu's ego almost killed me. It almost took me out.